everyone, my name is Cheryl and this is my Happy Handcraft Studio. Welcome back. It's September, my favorite month of the year. Love it. I love it. Is like a new start. Being a teacher forever, September was always the year where we bought new supplies, planned new projects, looked forward to the year ahead. So for me, September is like my happy new year. And so I'm excited now that September is here again. So I did get some stitching done. It was a good month for stitching. I'll talk about some stitching I completed and my plans for September. And then I have a few quilting finishes as well. So it's been a good couple of weeks. So the first finish that I had was Seasons of the Heart. This is the spring one. And this is from Jeannine McGowan, believe that's her name, from The Blue Flower. And this is from Punch Needle and Primitive Stitching Magazine. And there's a series of these. This is the spring one. I'm not sure how I'm going to finish that one. Probably a flat fold. That would be good. So the next finish I have was the first of my red samplers that I started in May. And this one is from La Di Da, and it is called Letters and Leaves. And if you were following me then, I talked about how I wanted to try to add a Canadian component or motif to my samplers since they are red and white. And so for this one, I added our maple leaf to it. So first one done. I'm happy about that. So this one I will be framing somehow to add to a sampler wall, which that will be the first one probably. So it'll have to start the wave, see how it's going to go. All right, so my next project that I work on every morning is my Meteo 2021, which is the temperature chart. This is from Jardin Prive. It's a free stitch. And I'm on the 9th month. Isn't that great? It's really coming along. I really enjoy starting my day with a nice, easy little stitch like that. It's great. I am getting excited for the new year, starting a new temperature recording. I know for sure I won't do high and low. I'll just do one temperature per day. I find that this is a bit distracting with all the colors, but you live and you learn. So for my stitching in August, I took part in a couple of events with semi-sane stitchers. And the one that took most of my time was called Uno, kind of like Uno game, where the administrator would spin a wheel and you'd either move ahead or reverse or whatever the rules of Uno is. And so I got a lot of stitching done with that. It made me touch, I had 4 original projects, and then 2 I completed what I could on them, and then I was able to put 2 different stitches in. So I was, working on 6 different projects for that event, which was great. So the one I got quite a bit of stitching in was Merry Christmas 2020 from Hello from Liz Matthews. This one is a free pattern if you go to her newsletter. So I did have 2 more motifs in here, but they were off. Somehow I had lined them up on the bottom leaf, and I skipped one and then it wasn't centered. So you put the stitches in, you take the stitches out. You do the hokey pokey. Yeah, it was like that. But I still used the stitches for the event, so it was fine. So that again was Hello from Liz Matthews. Then my next project I was working on for the event was this one. It's called Scissors. Whoops. And I'm really liking how this one is turning out. I'm really finding that I like the 1/2 on linen. I like the lighter look of the stitching, that you can actually see the cross. So I'm getting good progress on that one as well. So I could have several red samplers done in September. And considering it's September sampler, or sampler September, that's great. The next sampler is this one. It's called Live Simply. And this was from Hands to Work Designs. And this is on just an 18 count white Charlescraft, doing 1/1. So I like that one. If you ever wanted to see what I'm using for each of my projects, it's listed in the description box below. Okay, and I think this is my final red sampler. This one translates to be Pierrette's birthday. And this one I'm doing 2 strands over 2. And that as well is on an 18 count. I guess maybe in a way I'm doing 2 strands over 1 box. You can see that. It makes it great coverage, but I think I like it with less coverage. Okay, I also have my Flanders Fields Biscornu that I'm working on. Now this one is from Beth Twist at Heartstring Samplery. It's on Aida, Mystic Gray 18 count, and this is the one over the box, the even weave. I really got a lot of good progress on my 100 owls. The more I do this one, the more I love it. So this one is on 32 count Grey Lugana. Take a little closer look at those beautiful owls. And I'm going to get a lot more stitching on this one because this is the piece I'm using for the September event in Semi-Sane Stitchers called Stitchmanje. It's based on the book Jumanji. I think that's right, how you say it. But it's for stitching, and you work your way around a game board and you roll a die and you put in so many stitches for each one. So I'm getting really good progress on that. And then my favorite stitch that I haven't started any for September yet. So this is Talavera by Linens and Threads. It's their Mystery Sal for 2021. And this was the box tile that I finished for August. September's has been released. I just haven't started it yet. Hasn't come up yet on my other event that I'm following on Semi-Sane Stitchers, which is Crazy Dominoes, where you have to link your projects. So I'm really hoping to get that one ready to go. And then the final project that I've been working on is Watermelon Tourmaline. And, you know, the quilter in me just loves loves how this is turning out. Yeah, so this will probably be in one of the events soon. It's also my focus piece for September. So every stitch I put into that one will count as well. So for stitching goals, I'll be continuing to work on those, and I'm going to start the sampler that I designed for myself. So I'm imagining that I'm like a 10-year-old girl and making my sampler. So first step is I dyed some of my fabric, and because there's going to be a white church and white swans in this project, I figure I needed a color that wasn't white. And so I tried 2 different dyes, same color. This is Denim by Ritz, and I did it just a quick dye and then left it in longer. So I'll try both of these and see what works best with a floss toss. I haven't chosen any of my threads yet, so it'll be a start in September. It won't be a finish in September. So that's really the only goals I have at this point for stitching. I do think that I will finish up some red samplers really quickly within the next week, hopefully. And then I'll be able to choose to do some new starts. And I do have a couple of Christmas starts that I could start, but I think I might want to do some Halloween stitching as well. So I haven't any Halloween stitching decided yet, but that's easy. I've got just Cross Stitch magazine, I've got scraps of fabric, wouldn't take any time at all to kit something up. So I'm really looking forward to my stitching. I'm going to be getting projects completed, and I'll have some new starts. Is anyone else already thinking ahead to the new year and their new starts? I know I've been checking my wish list that I have for my local needle workshop, and I'm remembering what I put on that list, and there are a couple that are really good possibilities for a Christmas start and a New Year start as well. All right, so quilting. I think I was in a real funk the last time I talked to you because quilting was weighing on me. I had tops finished but not completed. I love piecing more than I love the actual sandwiching and quilting together. Part of that is that they're smaller quilts, and so smaller quilts I quilt myself. I am not a great machine quilter, and that's of course because I don't practice it. So I bit the bullet. I did what I needed to do. I looked at a video for using pool noodles to sandwich the quilt. So this I can do standing up at a counter that I have. I can center them. I use spray adhesive when I'm quilting. It works great. If you've never seen how to use pool noodles to layer your quilts, there are some really good YouTube videos that they just work great. So I sandwiched 2 quilts and I finished 2 quilts. So I'll show you the oldest one first. And if you've been following me, you've been seeing this one regularly. This was from the Canadian Quilters Association, row by row. And hopefully I'll be able to put up a nice photo here of it. So Canadian Quilters Association has a website, and if you were interested in this pattern, you would be able to find it there for free. It's row by row for 2020-2021. I did change it in that I put ghosts in where they had mittens because I wanted mine to be a fall quilt. And then at the bottom, I made this applique with pumpkins and leaves. Theirs was flowers of some kind. So I was really thrilled to have that one done. And so now I can put it up because it's fall, which is great. And then the next one that basically I think I started and finished since I saw you last was the Bats and Booze by the Fat Quarter Shop. So this is just a nice little quilt. You do 4 bat blocks and you do 4 pumpkin blocks, and then there's the center star. And you put it all together and you bind it and you have a small quilt. So this quilt would be great either on the wall or as a table center. That would work too. So I'm really glad to have those done. It really makes me excited to quilt the next top that I have, which is the Socialites one from Fat Quarter Shop as well. So that will be my main goal. So September is the time of the year when my quilt guilds start. I'm in 2 guilds this year. I'm in one that's a virtual guild, and we had our first meeting today. And then the next guild is next week. And that one we hope to meet. We hope to meet in person in Alberta. We're having more cases again, so we'll see what happens. That guild is planning to do sort of a hybrid in-person and Zoom guild. So, you know, it's good to have those fallbacks now that we can get together and do what we need to do without actually being in person. So we'll see how that one goes. But when you're in a guild, there's always the challenges and the mystery quilts. So for the one guild that I met today, they had an interesting challenge. You take the initials for your name. For the first initial, you choose a color. For the second initial, you choose a quilt block pattern. And then for your last initial, that's the quilting pattern you're going to use. So that sounds like a challenge, which is what it's supposed to be. And I imagine our Canadian Quilters Association will have a pattern or 2 for us to follow along. So something to look forward to. I really do like these patterns or these quilts where you do a little bit every month, and then in a year you have a quilt that you have to put together. But I only have one left to do from that, so that's really great. All right, everyone, that's it for me. I'll hope to see you again soon. Bye-bye.